Today's lesson is on outputs versus outcomes. Differentiating between the two is essential when developing organizational strategic visions and plans. If you fail to adequately define outputs and outcomes, teams can work towards the wrong objectives, ultimately wasting valuable time and resources. An output is an action you take towards your goal or objective. An outcome is the result you see after taking that action. These definitions may vary from how we would develop outputs in continuous improvement and should really be used in the context of strategic development when using tools like objective and key results, or OKRs. Outputs are how much was done and usually represented as a measure using counts. For example, the number of hours worked at a business, or the tons of sand removed at a construction site, or the number of dishes served at a restaurant. What are some outputs you can think of where you work? Outcomes are focused on why you are doing that activity. Outcomes are the difference or change that has occurred since those actions were taken. This can usually be represented by the percentage of change or difference. For example, a benefit corporation decides they want to improve work-life balance to create a happier workforce. This is the why or the outcome they want to achieve. They measure hours worked, overtime hours, and commute times. These are actions taken by their employees, or the output. Some of the measurable outcomes of work-life balance may be that employees spend 40% less time at the office, or employees are 25% happier. Measuring outcomes can be more challenging than outputs, but that shouldn't deter you from identifying outcomes and trying to measure them. Let's look at the construction company. A construction company wants to expand their earthwork line of business. This is the why, or the outcome that they want to achieve. They measure the tons of sand removed at each site, the cost of fuel, and the hours of labor as outputs or the actions. These variables can directly or indirectly impact the performance of the outcome. The measurable outcome could be a 10% increase in earthwork revenue. The output alone lacks meaning, while the outcome provides the actions meaning and purpose. At a local restaurant, they want to be known as the healthiest option in town. The actions or outputs they can monitor could be the number of healthy choice dishes that are served, or the caloric count of each dish. The ultimate result or outcome might be a 5% increase in the health food market share. Ultimately, your outcomes are measuring and articulating the voice of your business, the voice of your customers, and possibly even the voice of your employees. Why do you want to do this? Why does the business want this? Why does the customer want this? Why do employees want this? The outcome should tie into your overall strategic plan. Many organizations today, especially in software and nonprofits, are taking these concepts even further, not only looking at outputs and outcomes, but also impacts to the peoples and communities served. A 5% reduction in diabetes in the community might be the impact that local health food restaurant has on a community. If an organization cares deeply about responsible and sustainable development, an increase in market share for the construction company or revenue might lead to 12% more homes withstanding a forest fire. And an organization that cares about work-life balance might see 7% more students graduating from high school. Do you have some examples of outcomes, outputs, or impacts? I'd love to see some of your examples in the comments. By understanding the impact you want to influence or the outcomes you want to achieve, you can align your actions each day to those goals, ensuring your teams spend more time on actions that add value, both to your customers and your community.